Hey guys, it's Kevin again. This is my review for Girl Meets World, Season 1, Episode 14, Girl Meets Friendships. And, of course, this show seems like it hasn't been on for such a long time. The last time the show was on was October 17th, so it's been roughly almost a month since the show's been gone. It seems like it's been months. It seems like it's just been months and months of no Girl Meets World, and, I'm really happy it came back, definitely, because I really enjoyed this episode. I thought this episode was really good. And, while the last episode was very dramatic and had a lot of storyline to it, this one did as well, but it was more about just sort of a fun episode. We definitely found out a lot more about Lucas, a lot of people have been complaining that Lucas doesn't sort of as much of a purpose on the show, and now he kind of does. We found out more about him. It makes his character more interesting, and I definitely really like that. And overall, the episode was just really fun. It was probably one of my favorite episodes this season, definitely one of the best so far. I really enjoyed it, and let's just talk about it. There were two plots this episode, as usual. Let's get to the main plot first. Basically, this episode was about running for, Riley, Lucas, and Farkle were all running for basically being in a campaign, and we start off with seeing Riley's campaign video for student class president, and she's portraying it as she wants to be like a princess, basically, and I thought it was a funny way to start the episode, but at the same time, it's kind of like, what is going on here? Like, you have no idea what the fuck's going on, so I thought that was a funny way to start the episode. I personally really enjoyed it. It was fun. It set the tone for the episode perfectly, and I really enjoyed that. So Corey tells the class all about democracy and what's going on here, and Farkle right away is very interested, especially about running the country and things like that, because, Farkle, what does he want to do? He wants to take over the world. That's what he wants to do, and right away, he is in. He's completely in. He wants to be part of this campaign, and Riley nominates Lucas, because, Maya kind of picks on him all the time, but he's very reserved about it. He never really affects him, and Riley thinks he'd be a good contender for that. So she nominates Lucas, and then she ends up also nominating herself. So I thought that was really funny, but of course, she's saying, I don't want to do that. If I nominate Lucas, I want to nominate Lucas. But Maya's telling her she would make a good candidate, and I agree with Maya that she would make a good candidate, and ultimately, she decides that she is going to run for student president, so she does, and from here, it is absolutely hilarious what they decide to do. I love Riley's campaign thing to Corey, and I love that he's just like the whole time, I'm an impartial judge, it doesn't matter what I say, my opinion doesn't matter. It's really funny because you can tell that Corey he doesn't want to be a part of it. He's the one, of course, that's judging it, obviously. He's the one that makes the final decision, but he's impartial because he's the one that announces it, so I thought that was funny the way he said that, he's, like, impartial and everything. So basically what ends up happening is they kind of decide to come up with different ways of running their campaigns on how they're going to attract people. And Riley's was very interesting. Riley basically has always wanted to be and I thought this was interesting and real. We find out that Riley has always wanted to be a princess. She can't be, she can't be a flower girl, and she's not, old enough to be a pageant model yet, so while she can, she still wants to be a princess, and I'm like, I love what she's like to Maya. She's like, I'm only 12 years old, there's not enough time for me left to be a princess, and I thought that was really funny. So that's basically her campaign, is to be a princess and everything. Farkle's campaign is absolutely hilarious. Corey Mantis, once again, does an awesome job in this episode. Absolutely hilarious. His is very much like a dictatorship. He literally has like a dictator uniform on. It's hilarious to watch. I loved seeing all the scenes with him. It was really, really funny, definitely, and I definitely really enjoyed that. Thought that was definitely very funny, and I thought that was great. I definitely really enjoyed what they were doing there. I thought that was definitely really funny. So, basically, that ends up happening, really, and I thought that was definitely really, and eventually, Riley and Farkle end up turning on each other. It's really funny to watch, the two of them are going at it and everything, especially when you see Riley's campaign video and then Farkle's campaign video. Farkle's campaign video is legitimately, like, scary. Like, think about Adolf Hitler. I don't want to say Farkle's like Hitler, but think of how, like, threatening he was. That's basically what Farkle's doing. He's trying to, like, scare people into voting for him. I love that he just was like, free t-shirts, and then when they all got free t-shirts, they were all, like, screaming hysterically. I thought that was so funny, and I thought that scene was just hilarious what happened there. I love that. I thought that was great. So basically, then we see after this, I definitely thought that was really funny what they were doing there. So after this, we see that it's really starting to get bad. They're starting to, compete over each other, and Lucas talks about how, basically, he thinks that they're going too far and that they made a pact that they would respect Farkle and not turn against him. So Maya decides that they're going against Lucas because he is the more threatening one, because the only reason Farkle is popular right now is because he has, a crowd and a squad and things like that. So basically, I thought that was, really funny what's going on, really funny. Also, the other thing that was, really funny was when Riley had the horse in her room and Topanga came in. Died laughing. That was hilarious. I love that. Classic stuff. I mean, that's like classic sitcom stuff. It's always really funny when you get an animal into someone's room. I thought that was, funny what they did there. So, basically, she decides to turn against Lucas, and the way she did it, I thought was really weird. Like, I don't understand how this would really... I understand how this would kind of affect Lucas, but we find out a lot more about Lucas in this episode. First of all, we find in the beginning that Lucas is planning on visiting Texas again, because he's only supposed to be in school temporarily, and Maya wants to find some sort of collateral to expose Lucas to get people to turn against him, so he's not going to the campaign. And what they end up finding out is that Lucas never actually wanted to come to New York. He only came there because his dad forced him to, and his dad doesn't want him to return to Texas, and basically they feel very bad for him after this, because Luke looks at them and he's like, are these kind of friends you want to be? And I thought that was great. This episode had by far Peyton Meyer's best acting. He really did a great job in this episode. I thought he was really good, definitely, and I really enjoyed his acting. I thought he was definitely really good here, and I like what they end up doing. Basically, what Riley and Maya ultimately decide to do is they decide that they're going to basically let Lucas win, and I really like the way they do it. We actually see some of Lucas's friends from Texas recording a video about how, how much of a nice guy he is and how much they should respect him and how good he would be for a campaign. So, they use that, and I thought that was very good what they used, and basically what ends up happening is that Lucas ends up winning class president, but he nominates Farkle as his vice president, and Farkle decides that he doesn't want to be part of the dictatorship anymore because all it does is scare people, and we get a nice message there of friendship and the importance of it, and, I definitely really like how much of a tag team they really are, and I thought that was well done. I definitely really enjoyed that, and at the end of the day, I really enjoyed this episode. I thought that plot was very good, but let's get to this scene that I thought was really interesting, and I like what they're kind of setting up here. Throughout this episode, there are a lot of Ruckus moments, Riley and Lucas, a lot of moments between them, and we see that they are getting closer and closer as the show's going on. This episode probably has the most Ruckus references we have had so far. First of all, the whole time when Riley's like, flirting with Lucas, she does that every episode, but she asked Lucas a very interesting question here, because after he nominates Farkle as his vice president, Riley's like, well, what do you think of us? What would you consider me? And he brings out the horse, and he goes onto the horse and tells her that he thinks that she is a princess, and this is definitely hinting that these two have a future together. Definitely these two have a future together. I know people ship Maya and Lucas and thinking they might get together. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be Riley and Lucas, and I like the way they're handling it. They're handling it in a very mature way. They're handling it in a way that's not, like, overly cheesy. It's not exactly realistic, but it's it's realistic in the sense that it's not like, oh my god, they're together all of a sudden. No, it's not really cheesy or anything. Yes, the scene with him bringing the horse was kind of cheesy, but I thought it was good. I thought the way they executed was good, and I personally really enjoyed it. I like what they did there, and I really enjoyed that scene. I thought it was definitely really well done, and we end that plot there. So I really like the way they're handling Maya, Riley and Lucas. Let's get to the subplot. Subplot in this episode, really, really funny. Very simple. Augie's not going to sleep. Basically, what ends up happening is at first, he wants to watch the game with Corey, and Corey, basically, is kind of needing to push over down. It's like, hey, he wants to watch the game, you gotta watch the game. And this reminded me very much of the father-son game. If you remember that episode where Alan lets Corey stay up as long, so he can watch the game, and Corey ends up not doing well in that class, and, Amy used that against him. Really, really great episode there in season 1. One of the few episodes of season 1 I really like, and this kind of reminded me that Corey sort of gets some of this from his dad, so I thought that was really funny. I don't think Corey realizes that he's doing that. I think that definitely is very funny that he doesn't realize it, and eventually Auggie does go to sleep, but he doesn't go to sleep when he's supposed to, and of course Topanga is very concerned the whole time, and Topanga actually ends up falling asleep, and Auggie ends up bringing her a story and everything, and I love the way they just came to an agreement about sleeping, and she's like, I just want to tell you the importance of sleep. I thought that was really funny, and overall, I thought that was a very good plot, and I really enjoyed what they did there. But overall, guys, this was another solid episode. I really enjoyed it. I really love where they're going. Everything that they've been doing on this show, I really haven't had a problem with. And I mean, the only episodes, we've had, they had 2 episodes that were kind of a fluke, but I really feel they're back especially after the last episode. And this episode, I was really happy with it. And it looks like next week's episode is just going to be just as fun. And I like this episode was just fun. It was. It wasn't anything too overly serious. We did have that stuff with Lucas in there. We did have the message of the importance of friendship and things like that. And now you should never turn against each other, because that's not what friends do. I like that, but at the same time, what I like the most is finding out more about Lucas's character, because a lot of people have said Lucas has just been there to be Riley's love interest, which he is, but at the same time, he's also there because he's just as important as all the other characters, and now we finally know more about Lucas, because up to now, Lucas really hasn't had many flaws at all. He seems to be a pretty perfect human being, and it's cool to see that he does have flaws, so I'd like to see what happens there. I kind of feel like we're going to get a Lucas-centric episode, kind of like what they did with Farkle, to get us to care about him more, and I definitely want them to do that. They did do that in this episode, kind of, but it wasn't in the sense that it was all about Lucas. It was all about the campaign. Most of the episode was about the campaign. The second half focused more on Lucas, but the first half was more about the campaign and everything. But I overall really enjoyed this episode. Thought this was another great episode. Let me know what you guys saw this episode. I'm looking forward to next week's. Next week's looks really funny. Basically, Riley and Maya are going to babysit Auggie for the first time, and Augie's going to try to, ruin it for them. It looks really funny. I'm glad that the show is back, and I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be my review for either a movie review or for my review of The Missing. So I will see you guys for that. Also, let me know how you think they're handling the Riley and Lucas relationship, that we know is going to happen but hasn't happened yet. Do you like the way they're kind of, hinting at it, or is it annoying for you? Do you feel like it's taking over the show? I don't feel it's taking over the show at all. I know some people complain, but I personally think it's fine. What did you think of the Lucas-centric stuff? I really like that we found out a lot more about Lucas in this episode, but that's in my review. Hope you guys enjoy. I'll see you guys in my next video. Okay, bye.